Today, the Tallahassee-Leon County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls met to launch a new program to recognize local businesses that support women.
Our Julia Miller joins us live with more on what this really means. Julia?
Julie and Jacob, today the CWSG discussed proposed ordinances including parking spaces for expecting mothers and diaper changing stations across our area. They're also talking about other ways to support pregnant women. They say the goal of the new community initiative Businesses for a Better Tallahassee-Leon is to get businesses across the area involved, with a target over the next 6 months to engage about 10 businesses, identify ways to enhance their workplaces. They say a tier system will help women identify which companies they prefer to work for. For example, the bronze tier is for businesses that have initiated at least one program, like displaying menstrual products and bathrooms, all the way up to gold for businesses that have made contributions to women's and girls' health over a significant period of 3 or more years.
I think setting it up with flexibility, so even if it's an ordinance, giving kind of a tier system of what makes sense for each business or organization versus you must do this.
Leaders say they understand not every recommendation will apply to every business, so they're keeping the program flexible. They say some ways businesses can be more inclusive of women include offering parental leave policies, adding nursing stations, and even providing menstrual products. If you're a business and would like to implement some of these changes, the commission is asking that you reach out to them. Reporting live in Tallahassee, Julia Miller, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Okay, Julia, thank you.